Hello. Down to my left on the turntable, I've got that nice content feeling you get when you finish a model that you're proud of. I'm going to help you achieve that, I promise. So down to my left on the turntable, I have what I think might be one of the best I've ever achieved results versus minimal time spent Space Marines I've ever painted. I've painted a Dark Angel. It's turned out very, very well. In this tutorial, we will be stacking on top of each other a few things in a row. Essentially, it's slap chop, but it's kind of fancy and nuanced. Purple base beginning, some very nice dry brushing, but not too much of it. We're using Dark Angel's green contrast, which is a hard and difficult and weird contrast to use, and I don't think it's best used over a light base, so we're using it very differently. Doing some highlighting on top of that, you stack those together and you get one badass looking result. I've left quite a lot of the processes in this. It's a very, very thorough tutorial. Let us know what you think of the format, too long, too short, whatever. Should we have skipped some stuff? There's a little bit of my experimentation thrown as well, so you can see kind of my thought process as I work things out. That's it. Give us your suggestion for the best piece of follow-up content below, especially if it's to do with Orcs or Space Marines. It's pretty relevant recently. We will give a set of your choosing to the most liked comment. We got some good ones on the last Red Armor video. At the end of this video, I'll make sure a couple of pieces of relevant content are linked, particularly pigments, because I think they're a very good combination with Dark Angels. Dark, shiny armor, hugely matte, contrasting pigments. It's just a recipe for looking very good, very fast. All right, did I miss anything out in the tutorial? I'm sure someone will tell me that I did. Anyway, let me know that below too. Let's jump in. All right, so we have acquired our purple base. By any means possible, just if you're airbrushing it, just do it a bit heavier, do a couple of coats. Don't like lay it on mega thick, but you want a protective layer here and let it dry 100% as well. It's very important. So very often in Dark Angel's recipe, you'd start off with something like this. This is bottle. However, that's for another tutorial another time. We're going from purple base, so we're jumping up to mallard. Now I'm going to put this down carefully, but I suspect I should be able to just dry brush for quite a long time with only this and let the model and the dry brushing technique do the work for me. Let's see if I'm correct. Hopefully I am. I have picked up a dry brush before. So before starting, I've not used this brush for a good while, and I've been bad and I've not left it in its box. So can we see any? I don't know. Anyway, there's some fluffy stuff coming off it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just putting it right under my light, which you can't quite see, but I'm kind of flicking off the excess dust, and I'll do that. The other thing that I'll do is I'll just get a little sheet of paper and I'll fold it over the edge of my palette. Right, imagine this isn't tissue paper. I don't advise tissue paper. And I'll dry brush backwards and forwards on it, and I'll do that after taking water from the dampening pad. So this is just going to make sure that if I haven't given my brush a little clean at the end of last session, it wakens it up, it puts some water into the bristles, and it gives me an opportunity for anything that is dust related, basically, that's got in there to get out. Now what we're going to do is 1 drop of water in the dampening pad, work it in, make sure there's not too much. The test for whether there's too much is go somewhere on the palette that's had some paint. You check there's a little smear, there's not too much. It should pretty much dry out and evaporate as you blow on it, kind of like a glaze on a model. All right, I'd recommend no smaller than a medium. I'm using a medium here. Medium plus is generally my favorite for Space Marines if you're going to try and use one brush start to finish. And then what we're going to do is just pad it over an area where we've already got our purple, even if it's an airbrush of our purple or whatever, stipple it a bit and just see how the color looks. So this is telling us that we are going to be able to build up quite a subtle effect of it. And nothing crazy is going to happen. If it looks teal, that's cool, that's fine. All right, I'm going to start somewhere semi-safe and hidden, his butt flap. And we're just going to see how it looks there. This is going to take a while. We are aiming to build up this color absolutely everywhere, indiscriminate of light. The only thing that is going to affect whether you hit somewhere is whether your brush can reach it. And like, it's okay if it looks teal. That's just colors doing color things. So bit by bit, we're going to build this up. And I'd recommend that you work one section at a time, test regularly, and yeah, don't go too heavy. Always assume that you might have a bit too much on the brush rather than the other way around. And we're just going to go all the way around the model. Once you've put down the first coat on it, it will accept paint more readily, but you've got to build it up to that stage. Proceed with caution. Take your time. Back and forth, side to side, circles. If you set up the brush correctly, should be able to get it. And because we're using the egg, we can get at whatever angle we need. Like I say, we're not reflecting light in any way here or anything like that. It's just we're hitting everywhere that is on. We'll come back soon. I will make plenty of progress. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The most important third is the top third. Your gun's covering low the chest anyway. It's up to you where you hit and how much. If you don't think you need to base coat his little codpiece, then that's fine. If anyone ever picks up your model and tries to look at its codpiece, you got to question why they'd be doing that. All right, so do you need to paint his codpiece? Probably not. Shoulder pads are as important as the helmet. They are the 3 most important spheres on your Mini. Everyone hates backpacks, but you could include them there too. Backpacks are horrible in Space Marines. So take your time on the shoulders. Build it up gently. Another thing I'd recommend is if you've got an important area, you don't just start on that area, you start somewhere else. Get yourself used to how the brush is behaving, and then you go to that area. So, I'm starting on the butt flap. It's not very important. Back the legs, they're not like a key area for this model. Then if something that I don't want, a mistake happens, because I didn't test enough, it'll happen there. When I'm okay with the brush and I'm confident with the brush, then we go to the shoulder pads and we put down our best, smoothest, and most predictable work. Right, plenty of that for a long time. Good luck. So if I show you on the leg, because we've already started it, we should manage to see this starting to build up and become more pure. Still not hit the inside the leg. Medium plus is a good size for being able to reach here, but if you're army painting, just consider whether you might be able to get away with using a bigger brush and not paint in between its legs because they'd be in shadow anyway. This is one of the things that a brush has over a sponge. You can get anywhere with the same implement. It'll catch your edges in a way that's super satisfying as well. We've got more magic to come as well. We have a rather wonderful post-process after we've put this down. So yeah, you can see I've built up more there. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Just be careful. Your thing to avoid is try and make a mistake on purpose. I'm not going to do it on my model. That'd be terrible. You're trying to avoid one of those. You don't want that. That will undo a lot of good work. So your only job is to test your brush enough to make sure that when you go to the model, you don't have any nasty slips. And start with a light pressure and build it up once you have good reason to be confident, not just when you're like, oh, screw it, it should be fine, because it won't be fine. Attaching your head is optional with Space Marines, I'd say, until the last minute. And sometimes it can be really, really helpful if it isn't attached. So any areas that are going to be kind of hidden by the helmet, you don't have to be too careful with, but just getting a little stipple in there, it can really help make it look like it's dark green armor down there, not pure purple. I know this might look a bit much, but we are going to add leaf to our mallard. It's kind of like moot green from GW. And we won't need much. See, my brush it's not caked in paint, still got a bit of an O-ring around the edge. That's because the top gets cleaned kind of more in use than the sides do. But it's important that we still have the previous color in the brush. Take out the tiniest dib, and then we're just going to really slowly and gently and minimally mix that with our original green. Okay, so there might be a few areas actually that you should pay attention to before jumping on to the next step. I'd missed out the top of his backpack here, realized that just before beginning. And also, I'm going to carefully bring up his shoulders. Carefully. Top of his arms, by his gun. There's some areas between his shoulder and his collar that you just can't hit at this stage of the dry brush, so we will catch those in post. They'll be hit by the contrasty washy step anyway, But if you want to paint them now with a brush, just by poking it in there, you absolutely can. That bit in his chest there, you know, I can poke at it, but actually the reason I paused is I'm going to change to a bigger brush for my final steps. I know it might sound a little bit weird to swap from a small one to a bigger one, but I don't need to be getting in any recesses with this, although it might have done an okay job with its longer bristles. So this should just hit generally and softly the areas that I want. So exactly the same as last time. Take care to only take a little bit of the paint. Tiny bit. Now this is not a Dark Angels-y color. It's a little bit happy and warm for a Dark Angels color, so you really want to make sure that you test it thoroughly before going to the model. And again, let's have a look at that bum flap. I think it's okay. Too soft is far better than too heavy an application at this stage. So, and this really is a big general kind of catch-all of edges, and it will buff up the middle of larger open areas like the top of the shoulder pads, top of those domes slightly too. There you go. Magic. If you're looking to hit trim top to bottom or side to side across these ones, whatever's going to help that paint jump onto those edges. Thank you, Manchester. When I'm really confident with a brush, then we can go around and we can pop down general over buffing circles. The larger the bristles, the easier and faster this process is. And also the less trips to the palette you need, like a normal brush. If you need it to fit anywhere that it can't, you can always try giving it a little bit of a squidge. And that might allow you to get in areas that you didn't think that you could access. While I'm here, I'll take the opportunity to dry brush the gun. Probably we won't make any use of it, but I mean, why not? Technically now I'm cleaning my brush. All right, with that done, we have the magic step to go. Anyone who's ever used this paint will know about this. Anyone who's ever had a terrible time or an accident with this paint may not have shaken it. So stir it, shake it, whatever you gotta do. This has to be completely mixed in and suspended in the mix before you do anything. It'll take some work. Mixy brushes going in. Surely that will have done the job. God, it's so dark. Wow. All right, it will be good enough. There'll be plenty of that suspended, but hopefully this gets the point across. It is a problematic paint to mix. I'm going to work from some fresh. Now, the way that we're using this is kind of contrasty glazy, I would say. And I'm going to be using Old Faithful, using my big size 4. Start off on a section that you don't think is a risk. Unflap it is. Put it down there. Now this is the point where you assess if you need to add any contrast medium in. I think a little bit would help, but I'm actually just going to use a tiny amount of water. Like a really small amount. Because I want this guy to turn out pretty dark. It's up to you, use whatever your preference is, whatever you've had the best experiences with. I'm still using a good brush here, and that's really important because I can end and I can go section by section pretty easily. See how I could skirt around that ankle detail there. I'm just going to break up the model into bits, and each of those bits will be got on their own. very easy for me to only hit where I need to. Even though it's a big brush, it's very, very helpful. I find that you tune into a good brush pretty fast. So while I started slowly, I've tuned into the mix and the brush, and now I should be able to work pretty quick with minimal mistakes. The faster you go, the less your mistakes will matter. But obviously it's better off to warm up into your paint, its color, its behaviors, rather than just going in YOLO without having observed how it actually behaves. As we work our way up, I'm adding a little bit more dilution, which again is water, but that's fine with the contrast this strong. And what that means is that when we get higher up the model, he will look lighter. It's a really easy way to use exactly the same paint, the same method, the same thickness, and get a different color out of it. We've also hit those shoulder pads and other details like the arms a little bit more heavily with the lighter colors. So our model will get lighter as we get higher up it, and that will look good with very little effort. It's almost like an accidental, passive way to do your highlighting, but I cannot sing its praises highly enough. So if I dilute my brush I have here, I'll be able to show you on a shoulder pad, hopefully. Still working quick, but like I said, we're in tune with the brush. Look at that. Pop up some excess. We've got more showing through here than we did down there. That'll look really cool all over the model. If anyone was wondering, now's the stage when you catch the crotch. If you want, you can drop down to a smaller brush and catch little areas, but these balls on the backpack should be a good example. Like they were completely purple. Now they've been hit with this, and because it's such a strong contrast, it's kind of imperceptible. Just don't miss any major areas, you'll be good. Here we are. It's gone pretty fast, and I've been pretty fast and loose with it as well. I had a bit of a mishap on his head. Unfortunately, that wasn't on camera. I'd swept around it and then moved on to the next area without joining into that. So I've gone a bit darker there than intended. Now, you can absolutely kind of stop there with the armor, do an edge highlight, do panel lines, whatever you want. I'm going to try and sell you on the idea of a dry brush. I'm going to do that by showing you just how fast it will be with a big brush. It's up to you how bright you want to go, how bright you think a dark angel can go. I'm sticking with the darker of our first two starting colors, and I'm using a big brush. I've done it on this side, and I'll show you just how easy it is elsewhere. It's that. All we need to do, and that's going to make rounder areas look rounder. You can catch edges, you can hit the back of the calves, you can go top to bottom on the backpack. That'll make the top of the sphere lighter than the bottom. It's absolutely YOLO dry brushing in the best sense of the word. Can't get my words out today. If you're looking to get an army on the table, this is how. Probably I should glue its head in at this point. Yeah, look at that. Looking very solid for the very small amount of minutes spent so far. Now, I do think it's very easy with colors of Achilles, whatever it's called. Someone will correct me, I'm sure. Correct me below. It's very easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of options with dark angels that you have. Like you could do them bony, silver, actually looks really cool, especially with a bit of a green wash on it. However, one of the things that I think about is if this is for army painting, you should get some metallics on it somewhere because they look good on army. So I'm going to attempt to go for a very warm one. And I'll do that by mixing Retributor, which is just one of my favorite golds, has been for forever. You'll have seen these pots, bloody hell, every time. Satisfying though. All right. I've used this plenty on the channel with good reason. I'm using a very tired old small brush, by the way, if you're wondering why I've swapped to a much smaller one. And I'm going to put in Jasper. Now this is a ultra warm brown. It's like chestnutty, it's amazing. And the thinking with this is, this will make, by comparison, my Dark Angel look cooler and darker if we put down a like a really kind of happy, classic ultramarines trim-esque gold. Pop it down and we'll get to see live whether I was correct or not. Definitely the right choice. Now, completely optional is panel lining, and it's, if you are doing it, you have a couple of choices of color. You could just go Nuln Oil. It's safe, it's reliable. The fact that it's ever so slightly warm probably won't show up in as dark a place as it is, but what I'm going for, and again, this is super strong, so you have to act accordingly, is a mix of these that kind of looks 50-50, but it's literally like a 1:5 ratio or something, Dark Angels to Drakenhof, and then it's simply a matter of choosing your areas you'd like to drop that in if you do want to drop it in. It's very safe though, because it's already got Dark Angels green in it, so it's pretty hard for it to go wrong in any way. I've slapped it down loosely in a couple of areas, thought that I'd been, you know, a bit too casual with it, and I absolutely hadn't, or even if I had, it ended up not mattering. So if we mix up a baby batch here, slightly green, slightly blue, slightly dark, and then carefully use a brush that you're in tune with. This is an ancient brush, but I've used it for years, and you can just wipe off any excess. So you put that wherever you think it's useful. If you do want to do it indeed, the areas that I find particularly useful are just spots like this. We can harden a line there. If you've got any wobbly shoulder pads, I got mine from easy to build, kind of like budget marines, and they're just not as crisp as they could be. You can put a crisp line in, hide any faults of the model, and it really is pretty easy. Either side of the air intake, you can carefully put a line down and it'll make it look like you did need to painting when you didn't. Obviously you need a good straight brush for this. Curly brush or a splay brush will not do. And again, it is optional. You can pick a couple of places. You could just pick places on the shoulder trim because they're important. Up to you. Also up to you, because we are trying to go fast, is edge highlighting, if you want to do it. And I do stress it's optional. These are absolutely solid tabletop now. If you want to draw attention to it or you'd like to try it, but you don't want it to take forever, I'll give you a couple of tips. Number one, just highlight upwards facing bits. Again, heads, shoulders, knees and toes. Said it before, we'll say it again. They're important. That might absolutely be enough. Plus maybe the top of the backpack. Just do one edge highlight, and if you want, you can do a lighter section within that. Don't try and put down a fat one, then a thin one, then a thinner one. That'll take you forever. I'll show you an alternate. One of the things that doesn't ever get mentioned with edge highlighting is if you do it, it allows you to fix some kind of softer points of your model. So these little orbs are always, they never quite look as round as they should. And we can just add a line on and pretend that's a hard edge there. And this will make our model look more crisp on areas where it's less crisp. Never gets covered this, and I have no idea why. Knees are important. Up to you how far you want to go. I'm going to do most of the edges with this stage at least, just because I think it will really help level things up. Completely up to you though, and as I've said, your priority is always kind of from the chest up. Shoulder pads they're almost more important than the head. Said it once, I'll say it again. But if you're going to be careful anywhere, shoulder pads are worth it. My egg is making this way easier now. Shoulder pads, collar. You can take the head out if you've left it unattached to make this easier. I'm making most of the fact that I can use the side of my bristles. And I'm sorry for the backpack. It's hard. Those edges are difficult. If you've got a little bit of paint on your brush, it's much easier to hit them kind of softly than with the edge of it. And just do it on the top bit where the line is a little bit more obvious. I'm trying to go down here where there's no line and it's a nightmare. So taking whatever two colors you started off with, and you do want to exercise care here. It's up to you what color you go into. I'm gonna try this out. If it's too happy, then I could use something a bit more muted, perhaps like a bone. But we are going to be quite sparing. Again, I've spoken about this brush. I've used it for literally like a couple of years at this point. Even if it doesn't have the pointiest tip left, I know where it's pointing. It's pointing in a straight line, so see if it can do the business for me. And you stick to whatever is the level that you think you can do edge highlights at reliably. You do. So if you want to do them side on, using the side of the brush, have at it. Be aware that the softer edges like this one are harder to get a neat looking line on. And if you've got another way of doing it, go for it. But I'm just going to race around all the upwards facing edges. The trims have been hit so well by the dry brushing that they're optional at this point, but I probably will add on those as well. So yeah, I'm going to go around and hit the most obvious parts. And this will make a difference. This will make your deep, darker areas like even deeper and even darker. Knees. Toes. Toes, by the way, when you're doing the panel lining, you can be really loose on. I just added some more water and slapped it vaguely in the recesses. We'll be hitting them up with some pigments at the end, so you don't need to be neat. You don't need to be precise. Spend your time being neat and precise carefully and where it's worth it, and then where you can be loose. Ooh, it's my 15-minute timer, so we've done pretty well. Any areas that you've missed? Haven't hit this bit once. Any greens? Maybe even missed it. I think I got it with the contrast at least. Just highlight the edge there and it looks like we painted it properly. Edge highlighting can hide errors. And because we're only doing one thickness of it, it's just way more forgiving. Now, some of you might have been wondering, well, if you said you're going to do 2 stages of it, you said this is going to be fast, so how's that possible? And you said we're not doing a fat one and a thin one. How's that possible? What we're going to do is we're going to highlight within and on the steps that we've previously done, but we're only going to highlight a small portion of them. What we're going to do is we're thinking about light. So on this bit of the shoulder pad, hopefully you can see it reflecting the light from my lamp now. This bit of the trim, I just want to hit here. That bit of the trim will be lighter. Very top of his hand. I'll just hit the top bit. Top bit. Along here. And so we're covering over our previous step, but we're only doing it in a portion of it. Believe me, this is magic. Like if you want to be able to spend a small amount of time on your model and get massive benefits, this is one of the ways. Not even chasing down the lines, I'm just letting the edge of the brush do it because I only need to hit a little bit. Honestly, it's kind of crazy. This is a bit of a joke, how good this looks for the amount of time that I spend. I'm probably going to spend 2 minutes, 3 minutes on the model, and all the areas that I need to hit inside of his collar, they're basically painting themselves for me. Top of the trim, side of the brush, here. Side of the brush there. Some are going to be harder. You can kind of tickle it onto there. It's easier than you think, and my God, does that make a huge difference. We don't even have red on him yet. Think how good he's going to be when we have red on him. If you did want to do a final stage of highlights or you wanted to do dots or anything on corners, I would take whatever you were just highlighting with, that mix that I was just using. This is Tusk. You don't want it to get any more colorful, you just want it to get a little bit lighter. And it's an example of what I mean by dots. If you're following some of the heavy metal paint jobs, they do these. I just hit some corners like this. Basically, that's going to let you know where that bit ends, and it looks a bit fancy. Kind of, it divides people on whether they like it or not, though, so you choose if it's for you. I probably won't be doing it. I'd be more likely to add a tiddy line here and there, but I think I'm good and I don't want to ruin the work that I've done so far. And it's also been relatively fast considering the quality, so I'm down. I'd spend more time on the head and that'd be it, really. On the subject of heads, what are we going to do with those eyes? So I think there's only really one choice. It's like reddy orange. Get out the same tusk that we've had previously. Always one big eye and one small eye, isn't there? Chili is very, very warm. Quite strong too. And I'm aiming to carefully flood the eye socket. A couple of goes is better than one, but that's almost good. So we carefully placed underpainting on the actual eye itself, and then we just carefully used diluted paint and we dropped it over all of the area, including the recesses of the eye socket. You could try doing a glow if you want, up to you. We need to decide a color for my Space Marine's gun, and there would be red on it if it wasn't a plasma thing. So I need to think pretty carefully about what color it's going to be, but it's going to have a glowing something that could be red. So I think probably what I'm going to do at this point is it's just going to be dark. Maybe I'll have a couple of metallic elements. Now, recently people really liked the robes on this guy, and that is Blacqua, which is a mix of our black and our aqua, and I'm really pleased with how that color turned out. So I think what I'm going to do to try and find a color is I'm just going to put a load of little dots of black down and some surprisingly colorful colors. Take our jade as well, or maybe our spearmint. And we're just going to see if I can make a cool, like literally cool black. So yeah, I'll pop some dots down, we'll mix them up, and we'll make a choice just by holding them up to the mini, seeing if it looks like a good idea. So we know that this one looks good, but any excuse to do it again. This is, I probably won't use mallard. I could use a purple. I will try a purple actually. I'm really into mixing colors of black at the moment. Spearmint is a very strong paint. You can see it's a little bit thicker, so I might need to be careful with how much that I mix the black. And then, I mean, maybe we just, okay. So let's see how these look. It's not very precise, it's somewhat scientific. I'm sure it will be a fine test. So that is pretty cool, actually. It's like a very muted lavender. Makes sense. I used our paint that's called lavender. Oh, winner? Maybe winner. That is, I'm into that. I think that's very successful. That's got, it's got some cool vibes about it. That was spearmint, to remind you. And then I'll show you Blacqua. Pull in a bit more black. A little bit more. There we go. Now that's the safe bet. We know that that looks great. And also I take some while it's on the brush and hold it like it's just, that's not going to break anything. But I can, I'm going to try the spearmint first. We'll just put it down and we'll see how it looks on the mini. I can always wash this black. Now, actually, in hindsight, maybe this is too close to the color of the rest of the mini, but I think I can probably put it down thin, put down a black something over it, and then we can make our judgment at that point, because it might be all right. I think, well, black will make a big difference. Rather than guessing, let's let that dry, and let's put some black on it and let's see. Should have used black chrome. So do a little test on the back. I mean, over the other one, it doesn't look that different. Yeah, I think we'll go for black chrome. I think it is different enough. Just slightly safer territory. This time around, I'm just going to take our Tuscar ivory color. I'm going to make up a really cool gray. Now you're taking a warm color and mixing it with a cold color here, so we should end up kind of smoky. And just as with the first attempt, I want it smooth. Yeah. Try not to hit his fingertips. Oh yeah. Yeah, correct decision. Mixing it with tusk is really cool as well. A little more. Probably I will still end up edge highlighting the top of this. Once we've done whatever we're doing to it, but I mean, this is so fast. You could not, right? You could absolutely not. I've been hitting this from the top, so we've got an aspect of lighting to it. Looks pretty cool. Obviously the plasma is gonna probably steal attention, but I think we do maybe blue plasma as well. I'm gonna go for a final pure-ish one. Cool. I mean, that looks great. I'm gonna do a careful black wash on it. I think color-wise, do a little testy. Yeah, I think Quelia will do. Again, we can test it on the back. Testing is such a good habit. If you can push yourself towards it, you've normally got a bit of your mini you care about less. Often it's going to be the back or under a backpack or something like that. But if you can just make it your default mode to do a test in case, you will discover some cool stuff. And this gun is definitely a very good example of that, because that looks so appropriate for sci-fi. It looks really good on the color of this model, and it was fast and it was fun, and I will be using that elsewhere. You could tint it with different end wash as well. Of course, I can still pick out some metallic sections. Looking great now. All I really have to do on this model is some base coating of kind of normal standard accessory type items. I'm going to be using mahogany, which is our gorgeous rich brown. I'll put it next to jasper so you can see the difference. Still warm, but richer and deeper, a little bit more black in it. I'll be using that on the leather, just because I think having, like we chose the gold for his chest, exactly the same reasoning. I can wash this down with black or something, but it's really going to do a good job of making the surrounding areas look a bit colder. So any channel regulars will know that I've been on a little bit of a pigment, I'm in a pigment phase at the moment. We've done a couple of pigment videos on the channel. So if you want to see a full kind of version of this process, how I'd approach putting some pigments on bases, definitely check out the video that's linked above. But short version is I'm putting it on as a paste. I'm doing some dots, and we outline this in the videos, both of them. You do not need to seal it. Don't worry about sealing it. Don't believe it. In my opinion, it's a waste of time, and you should enjoy using pigments because they are fun, and they're like, my God, are they fast. If you're on the fence, if you don't believe me about sealing, definitely watch it after this. And seriously, like, what more do you need from speed painting than something looking this good so fast? Wait till it's dry. Okay, so you'll probably notice that, or maybe I need to explain. I'm explaining now, I'm on it. We have been doing some more on the model experimentation, and essentially the warm gold here, for me, that was pulling all of these three being gold. And at the very front of the model, it was pulling too much attention away from his face and his eyes. And I want people to be looking at his chest and his face more than these bits of the weapon, especially when it's going to be covered in whatever color glow we have there. I'm probably going to let the viewers decide. I put up a reel just now. What I've done is I've mixed a little bit of Retributor with a bit of silver, and then I've just watched it with Coelia Green Shade, and that is the silver that I've gone for on the model. It just makes it look a bit tarnished, a bit cool, a bit green, and that is a bit green. That's absolutely good enough for us, and that's what we've done there too. I'll show you it now. It's a very simple process. Same silver as normal. The incredibly strong Vallejo Game Air silver, the old edition, because I'm a special snowflake and I've still got some. A little bit of Retributor, obviously incredibly warm. Still using my old brush that I've been using a lot. See the color we've got there on the palette. Fair bit of water in there, thinned it quite a lot, and then what I'm doing is just the bits that are catching the light the most. I'm just looking at where my light is hitting. Don't need to guess. And I am catching those in turn. Now, for his chest, you can see I've done the same with a highlight of pure Retributor, which is now reflecting the gold. What I'm going to do is where that gold is, I'm just blobbing some silver. I can kind of try and follow, but it's fine for it to be general. This is army painting, and we are going to slap a wash on. So with care, a bit easier off camera. That's how I'm approaching it. It's literally paint by numbers. I've let the model do it for me. It means I don't need to think, which is the ideal amount of thinking when you're trying to go fast. Just do. And I can take pure silver and hit the highlights of my highlights again, pretty roughly, because we've got a wash that's going to run into the recesses for us. If you wish, pop him upside down and gently side dry brush with your tiny brush the bottom corners of these. You can also put a wash around the edge, make sure not to hit the color whilst doing it. Careful about overspill. And hopefully we've hit the edges of them. You can be a bit more careful doing it than me, but this is good enough, and we are getting attention to his chest now. Tiny bit of Jasper, which is our chestnutty brown. Up to you, but we are going very warm. You can always pop a more dull brown over the top. Right. I'm not going to daub it into my silver. I'm going to test, I was meant to test it over a silver area of my palette, not in drying silver. Okay, I think that's about right. Excess removed. There we go. Just let the model do the work for us. You can go slower if you want, but I think the fact that metallics do what metallics do, which is why I love them for army painting, is gonna carry it for us. We're just dropping our wash in the right place. It might get any areas we've missed as well. This is why metallic and washes are just so good for army painting. People want to see how much of a difference you can make with one decision. This is how different over a similar color the Coelia wash will look. Fix that dot there, that's just pure silver. That's pure silver too. And it just drags down all of this. Probably I should have gone a bit more towards silver there. So I'll give that a final highlight and repeat it, but cool sci-fi colors and it's cool sci-fi gun look in the business. These, same, I'm going to wash towards the bottom. Just take a little bit of Black Templar, very sparingly. add it to Quelia. Test on thumb. It does have the right colors on it, ironically. And then, if anyone would like to see an exclusive video on how I approach transfers, let us know in the comments, because I think they can make a big difference. Basically, I'm just going to roughly make my transfer darker at the bottom. And it helps so much on a shoulder pad. It is also darker at the bottom. We've got a video on pigments, feet, and on bases. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use our cheaty method, lay some water channels. And then I'm going to let the pigments run down those. It's up to you how high you want them to go up your feet. Check out the video if you want to see more on it, but what we're aiming for is having a little river guideline. And then just dumping our pigments in that and letting capillary action do the rest. I'll put dry pigments over the top of that and his feet will be done. This is why we didn't need to spend too much time on the feet. So a lot of it will get hidden. I want to paint the back of the knees. I just hit them with the same black Templar Quelia wash, and I'm going to put a little bit of pigment in the creases because I feel like that helps me get away with having not done it. Seriously, this is all speed painting gold, and this matte pigment against the varnished or just the natural finish of using satin paints and a not matte contrast, it looks so good. One of the joys of having already done a varnish step is you are perfectly set for just removal of excess. However much, however little, you can go back and forth. Now, fill your boots. Don't use a super fluffy cotton bud because you'll just end up literally doing like 100% of it again. If it pokes its way into recesses, it'll pull out everything, and you want to leave it in the recess and take it off the raised areas. Might need a little bit less water on than you think as well. But with the varnish, nothing can go wrong that can't be redone or fixed, so don't stress. This looks so good against shiny, deep Dark Angels green. Reminds me of the original Dark Angels green paint from GW, which any oldies out there will have fond memories of. Not for coverage, but for quality of color, it was unrivaled. Might have spoken about it when we designed the color bottle for mini color, actually. Maybe. So mid green or mid dark green mallard. A little bit of black. Absolutely optional, but I think it looks cool when your transfers are a bit cracked and aged. I want to make a strong mix, get anything fine lines, but they shouldn't look like a wash. So you don't want it too dilute. A minimal amount leaving your brush. Wonderful. Steady hands, hold breath. Oh dear. I recommend not doing that on camera. It was all right on my nail, but my brush started drying out and I didn't realize. So yeah, put it 2 inches from your nose. Find your best facing for your brush, do a practice stroke. And then the moment you're ready to go, go. It's better. But how do you get the pigments to just look like they've been brushed off so easily? Don't overcomplicate it. Very few tools in life are more flexible or versatile than a licked finger. Yep. Now, it's really easy to sink a load of time into OSL, so what I'm going to present here is kind of an undercooked way of doing it. And if you liked how well the eyes turned out, considering the time that went into them, we got some good news. It's exactly the same. We're going to use one type of red, we're going to use white, and that's it. Okay? So you can do this and you can adapt this to whatever type of red you're using. If you like this, we just did a video about underpainting and using red. So this might be familiar, but you can go and watch that if you want a little bit of a crash course on the subject on how you'd use it to highlight armor. So we're going to use a dry brush. We're going to use a very small normal brush. This is actually a 000, and we're just going to let the model paint itself for us. Generally, I don't prescribe to worries about contamination or paint water, but very soon your white's going to need to be the whitest it's ever been. So probably now is the time to go and change your paint water. Also, if you've got a hair in it, a plasma coil is about as bad a place to accidentally deposit a hair. It can be really hard to remove them without screwing things up because they get trapped in the bumps. So yeah, change your water. That will help your white be whiter, and then we're good to do some stuff with color. Of course, we're going to get a dry brush out, and this is going to help us for the next step. One drop of water in the dampening pad, press it in, and you really need to make sure if you've got any residual paint from previous painting, you clean it out of the brush before you start this. I don't want to infect my cherry with anything. Take a dab, test, and what we want to do, I take my cherry from where it's pure, not where it's dilute. I don't want to be messing around with soggy paint in my dry brush when it's slightly diluted by me. What we're going to do, which is probably going to mean that we're going to have to repaint the white area, is I'm just going to dry brush and stipple and poke around this carefully and slowly. You do not need to be making something looking bright now. That's a very current error. Just don't rush it. You're leaving a little bit of a halo, and within that halo, your next steps are going to start looking a bit more punchy. Having stippled those coils and the area, and now I'm going to do some brush strokes. I'm going to take them from my light source away in a straight line. This is optional, but where I showed you before, me hitting the fingers, me hitting this edge there, I first learned that I need to hit them by doing this. Don't forget the back. Absolutely test here and do not rush. If you want to do the white base coating after this, you can, but I find you need to do it a couple of times, whatever you're doing, so why not? You might also learn a little bit about the shape of your model. That's going to occur now. It won't occur if you don't put that white down. See? So I can observe how these have been hit. I would not have learned that if I hadn't done the white step, so don't guess it. Don't go in raw, go in with some information. Looking good. Now, if you're being brave, you can have some glow elsewhere on your model. You can do this whenever you like, but now might be a good stage to just kind of hit a couple of places lightly. It's up to you if you want to do this. If you're worried it'll look really bad, maybe don't do it because it'd be a shame to screw it up. And having a good light effect there is fine. You don't need to be all over his collar and stuff. I've just used my dampening pad, take a poke. That should help paint leave a bit more readily. And then that's going to make it easier for me to get it to land onto his forearm. And also kind of around this area. I'm just poking from the direction that the light is in. That kind of makes it safe. If the light could see it, you're okay. Your white. Make sure your water's clean, you don't want fluff. Still had some red in there. Probably wouldn't have been the end of the world, but we're just going to aim for the bottom. A bit harder for me. I'd normally do this not on camera and much closer to my face than it currently is. But you can see we're looking pretty good, pretty easy, pretty fast. So easy next step, add in the tiniest bit of black, and you want a weak black to go with your hopefully medium strength red. And then you're just going to go across the top of your coils. Very carefully. Easy. The dots like this. Make sure you clean that brush, make sure you laid it carefully, make sure it is not going to flood. Get the right angle to be able to side dink them. I do not want to do this on camera, but I'll do one for you. There we go. That's that. You do that on each one. Rough and ready. Up to you. You can add more white to the bottom. You can go back and forth. You can put a glaze over. You could airbrush over this, but that's good enough for me. Now the important bit, selling your effect on the surrounding areas. Carefully underpaint the bits that make sense. So for me, that could be the tops of the fingers here. They might not actually make sense, but they're going to still forecast light is in that direction. If something is facing them, this edge is a very good example. Do that. Take our red, dilute it, and then we're just going to probably paint over the entire thing. I'm going to paint and cover over any white that you got. I have to fix that little slip that I had. There we go. You think you've gone too far at any point on the gun itself? Just the same. Make a glaze. Test it out. Carefully lay it over. You can go back and forth here, probably more than you think. Okay, we are done. Super pleased with how he looked. Let us know what you would like to see next. Let us know if we missed anything. Let us know if leaving in all of the part of the painting for the armor was too much. Should we have compacted it? Or did you enjoy having a bit of everything there? Or are you just falling asleep listening to my voice, for better or for worse? We'll take your suggestions below. Please do leave them, they mean a lot to us. And we will catch you in the next video.